Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our little cozy corner of the internet. Pen here. Today I'll be reading chapter 3 of Atsushi Saving Magic. This chapter is titled Atsushi's Assessment Battle and I hope you guys enjoy. Chapter 3. As Chuya looks down at me, I feel him silently judging me before he takes a deep breath and crouches down to my level. So you know the people love, right? Chuya starts making me look at him in confusion. I nod, with him continuing soon after. So just like how a man and woman can love each other, two men or two women can love each other. At this, I look at him confused. He sighs as he tries to think of explaining another way of explaining in a simpler way before something clicks in my head. You can love anyone? I say loudly as I finally understand. At this, Chuya lets out a sigh of relief before nodding. Yes, kid, you can love whoever you want. I look at him in awe before I start to think out loud. Who do I love? Can I even love? I say softly as I put my hand to my chin as I try to think it out. Chuya laughs for a bit before he places a hand on my shoulder. You'll know in time, kid. Everyone can love. At this, I look up at Chuya curiously and tilt my head. Can someone like me even be loved? I ask softly, afraid of the answer Chuya might give. A small nod comes from Chuya as he looks at me in pity. You can be loved, kid. Now, let's head back out to the other two and see if Dazai has finished scolding Akutagawa yet. Chuya says with a smile as he gets up and stretches his legs, waiting for me to do the same thing. As the two of us leave the small side room together, we were met by Dazai laughing his lungs out, and Akutagawa leaning against a box in a vertical fetal position, hiding his face in his knees, with only the top of his head to be seen. As Dazai sees us leave the other room, he stops laughing enough to talk to us. You talked with Atsushi-kun? He asks Chuya. Chuya nods back as he walks towards the middle of the room and I follow him. I guess we should start training? Chuya suggests, to Dazai as he stops next to him. As he stops next to Akutagawa and whispers something in his ear. At this, Akutagawa lifts his head and his face bright red and a determined look in his eyes, nodding furiously in agreement with whatever Chuya just said to him. As Akutagawa gets up off of the ground with an almost majestic leap, and stares me down, Chuya walks back to Dazai, seeming proud of whatever he just did. Dazai gives him a questioning look in response, and in response Chuya just nods at him, somehow having a conversation without even talking. Was that Chuya's ability? I shake my head as I bring my attention back to Akutagawa. With his face a little less red, he looks at Dazai ready to attack at any moment. With this, Dazai sighs and gives Akutagawa a nod. Akutagawa, not missing a beat, activates his magic, making his clothes into a living form and having it rush at me, shouting with Shomon. It's times like this that I'm thankful for my fast reactions, because I was able to dodge out the way of the living clothes and whisper out a soft incantation of my own, turning my arms into their signature tiger limbs. With Akutagawa quickly recovering, he pounced at me, barely giving me enough time to process what happened before dodging. The fight went on like this for a few more minutes, me barely dodging in time to not get fatally slashed. Dazai-san, could you explain why Akutagawa was attacking me, and why aren't you helping me? I say as I realize that the two older men weren't stepping in to help me. At this, Dazai and Chuya look at each other before looking back at me and giving me a nod. Whatever that meant, the two were trying to give me a message that I had to somehow decipher. But that was kind of hard to do when I had to keep avoiding Rashomon as if my life depended on it. And that might be the case, so I shouldn't let my guard down. As I turn my face around, I look back at Akutagawa and see Rashomon coming straight at me. After all the beatings I had in the orphanage from the other kids, I knew where and where not could kill me if they weren't careful. But knowing the other mafioso wasn't stupid, I'm sure he knew where he was aiming. That spot happened to be right at my neck, near one of my jugular veins, where one of my jugular veins were. With the little time I had to react, all I could manage to do was tilt my head to the side so it didn't hit anything that could kill me. In a split second that I looked up, I could see an emotion that I couldn't register in Octagawa's eyes. Rashomon pausing in place. Rashomon through a small piece of skin, rushing through a small piece of skin, showing on the other side. I turned to look at Daza and Chuya after seeing Octagawa stop his attacks. Wow, I hear Chuya say quietly as I turn to face back to Octagawa and pull Rashomon out of my neck. At this, the other three men gasp, Dazai's being the loudest of the three, as I put one of my fingers in the hole to stop it from bleeding. It hurt like hell, but until I get access to some bandages, I'll need to keep something in the hole for me to keep from bleeding out. I may have avoided an instant death, but just because I survived the initial hit doesn't mean that I won't bleed to death. Cringing at the awkward feeling, I turn my neck to look at Dazai. Dazai-san, you have a lot of bandages, right? I kind of need some. Only if that's okay with you, though. I say, rushing the last statement out. I'm not sure what to do in this situation. The three of them give me a weird look, seemingly stuck in place for a moment, before Dazai nods and grabs his phone and makes a phone call. At this point, my head was starting to spin from the blood loss. It wasn't the nicest feeling, but it wouldn't have been the first time I felt this way. So trying to keep my consciousness for as long as possible, I lay down on the floor and curl up in the fetal position, hoping to conserve my heat. I was also laying on the side that wasn't injured, hoping that if gravity was working with me and not making my blood come out easier, then I would be able to stay conscious for a little longer. My brain only registers my surroundings once I hear a door open with a man, and I see a man with slicked back black hair, leaving only small chunks of hair on each side to fall down to his chin, wearing with a long white medical coat and a medical bag in his hand, crouching down in front of me and getting to work quickly. As I'm guided to sit up, I look at the man confused before looking up to Dazai. But before I can speak, the man treating my room straightens my head, holding my head in place with just enough force that I couldn't move my head without hurting myself more. So instead of looking at Dazai, I look at the doctor, watching him quickly and efficiently stitching up my neck. You know you're lucky you didn't hit your jugular vein, kid, the man said absent-mindedly as he continued to patch me up. The kid didn't just get lucky, Mori. He knew what he was doing, Dazai said, as Mori slightly gasped, stopping his work for a moment before I heard Dazai walk over to Octagawa and continue speaking. Did you ever see Atsushi-kun patch up anything like this in the orphanage? Out of the corner of my eye, I see Octagawa nod. Just how much has this man seen in my life? It's quite normal for him to get injured like this, but with how quickly I've seen him recover, he might be able to cast healing magic. Octagawa states plainly, as I see Dazai-san look over to me before walking and sitting next to the doctor. Dazai seems to be analysing me, but what could he be analysing? Just as Mori finished stitching up my neck, I feel a familiar feeling of the wound closing before passing out into Mori's arms. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I finally introduced Mori into the story. If you didn't know, I wrote this book, and if you're just clicking on this randomly, this is my book that I'm writing. And so I finally managed to introduce Mori into the story. So, that's the thing. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to take care of yourself. If you don't, I will pull a Dadzawa on you. And if you want to support me even more, you can always head to my Patreon, which is down in the link in the description, but you don't have to. It's just mainly there for another outlet to let my emotions out of. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!